There's no shortage of studies of social media these days. What were you hoping to try to do uniquely in this project?
Well, when we started it, there actually wasn't that much about it. There had been the social dilemma, which was great. But what I tried to do that was different from that is really have it be all in the kids' voices. Like I made a decision in the beginning to not have any experts and kind of went back to my own roots. My first book was about kids growing up in LA and about how they were influenced by the values of Hollywood, materialism, and celebrity and image. And so, in a lot of ways, the content of media influence and that early loss of innocence was something that I had been kind of working on for a long time. But I also did something different in the setup for this, where I wanted to make a social experiment. I felt like the media was the message we needed to see inside the phones. And so we brought together a group of young people, and these guys are part of it, who did the unthinkable, agreed to let me have full access to their phones for a 1 year period. And that was something I couldn't even get with my own child, who was kind of an inspiration for this. He was 14 at the time, and my eldest child was 20, and I saw this huge difference between their coming of age. And so we developed a technology, we developed a workflow where we could download and grab the social media as we went, and then and created a kind of animated way of showing the screen recordings. I really didn't want to like cut to the content. I wanted to experience it at the same time as we were experiencing the live action. So we would have this contrast, and we would see the lie, we would see the presentation, but then when they were talking to me in an interview or talking to each other in the group discussions, they were just like completely brutally honest and vulnerable. Like Sydney, I'll just use Sydney as an example. She makes these very sexy videos in the beginning of the show. And then we see her interview in her room, and she's like, it's like the other side of her, like the most innocent kind of girl with pastels and stuffed animals and quotes on the wall. And so you get to see kind of the contrast in the craft. And also the verite part. I wanted to follow kids. So we kind of use four perspectives to get into it. The group discussions, their interviews where they really break it down and deconstruct it and become truth tellers and are experts. And then the verite where they're really like subjects in their own lives. And then their social media where they're creators, they're makers, but we also see them being their presentational selves.
So, Sydney, like when the film crew would leave, would you be like texting your friends, "These old people are so lame," and then realize, "Oh wait, they can read that." Oh, delete, delete, delete. No, that's not my question. What made you want to participate in this?
Lauren came to my class when I was a senior in high school at Pali, and it was my film class. And I don't think you quite knew exactly what the project would become or what even it was going to be. And she was like, if anybody wants to share their experience about social media, does anybody have anything to share? And I was currently going through this cyberbullying incident that we explore in episode 1. And I didn't really have an outlet at the time. I hadn't really talked to anybody about it. I was still in the middle of this finding my voice, and I had a story to tell. And so I started talking to Lauren about it, and I'm very grateful to have had that outlet to share my voice. And I think what's really cool about the series is that you said that you come in with a rough idea, but you kind of find it along the way, and I found my voice along the way, and very grateful to have had that space to share my story.
So, Dominic, we glimpsed in the trailer there that a facet of this is that Lauren would gather all these young people and have conversations and ask questions. Lauren and I are about the same age, which is not young. And so I wonder what it was like, in a generational way to have someone of your parents' generation coming and asking questions and feeling open to talk to them.
I mean, I can't lie, it was difficult at first because I don't tell my parents what I do on social media. They have to find that out for themselves. And yeah, I didn't really feel comfortable sharing my experience with social media with my parents. And so this experience that we all had with Lauren was sort of like revolutionary for me, like understanding that the people from older generations are actually like they do care about what we're experiencing on social media, and they do want to intervene and help. It was hard at first, but Lauren provided this environment where it really felt safe to do so, especially in the groups where we had no access to phones and we were just around people who had similar experiences as us, and we all could connect in ways that we just couldn't in our real lives because our real lives have been disconnected with phone access and access to social media. And so I think the environment that Lauren provided us really was so essential to us feeling comfortable sharing our story in ways that we didn't feel comfortable with. We didn't feel comfortable doing so with adults in our lives at the moment. And I think that's really beautiful because you see it in the product. You see, how everyone is just having this raw, unfiltered story being told about our lives. And it's a beautiful thing because there are people in the world who are having similar experiences as us who probably feel very alone. And now, because of this project, they feel less alone.
So, Jonathan, was interesting to me your presence in the series because you were kind of making your own documentaries about your school, and we also see you operating a teen support line. So you were kind of attuned to a lot of these things in a different way, and I wonder when you watch the series. What is it that stands out to you? What do you see reflected about your peers?
Yeah, I think it's a really honest, transparent look at our lives. I think it's raw and unfiltered. You guys saw some clips from the trailer, and I really encourage you all to watch the rest of the series because it does talk a lot about hard topics about suicidality, depression, eating disorders, school shooting threats that all occur because of social media and our phones, and these are the ways that we communicate. But at the end, it really shows sort of a hopeful story of perseverance and resilience of my fellow teens, and two of them are here on stage today. So I think it's unfiltered in the way that it portrays our life and how we're living it and how that has been shaped by growing up as a digital native. But it also shows that there is hope, and I think that hope lies within the people sitting next to me.
I mean, Lauren, as you were making it, were you thinking of this being for this generation or for their parents?
It's interesting. It has two audiences, and they have had a completely different reaction to the project. And even while we were doing it, like Sydney's mom kind of speaks for a lot of parents, where she says, I don't know if I even want to know what's in my kid's TikTok. And we've definitely heard that from parents, like, I'm scared to watch. There's like a kind of guilt thing, and they feel like they should watch. But young people actually find it entertaining, validating, like they're not scared. They feel seen, and like we showed it in Thessaloniki, Greece recently, and the kids there were like, it's the first time we've seen something about us in a small town in Greece. So I think it's kind of what Dominic was saying about like, they don't really feel like people care that much. And I think what you see in the show is there's a lot of teens relying on other teens because parents are just so far, like whether it's the teen crisis line of Teen Line, or there's a vigilante story where Anthony is going after people who have done sexual assault because the police and the authorities are not. And there's other examples of like kids helping kids because parents are kind of in their own world. So, yeah, that it's been really interesting. I mean, I think what we really hope is for parents and teens to watch it together. Like that's what we're suggesting because even for me with my own kids, it taught me like what questions to even ask. and there's definitely a generation gap, and it's like too big. Like there was in episode 4, it's about sex and how kids learn about sex now, which is social media and pornography. And what I learned in the group is that BDSM is a really popular trend with teenagers. And this wasn't just one or two. This was like discussion from a lot of the group, which is why I did those group discussions. So they could kind of do the silent clapping and we would see that it wasn't just the story of one person. And I showed it one night, and we were talking about the BDSM thing and the Q&A. We showed episode 1, and then afterwards I saw a friend who was my age, who was a reporter, and his 22-year-old daughter, and they said, "Oh, we're going to go home and watch it. Should we watch it together?" I said, "Yeah, but maybe the sex episode you might want to watch apart." And his daughter said, "No, I went through that whole BDSM thing myself, and I want my dad to see." So that was like a lot of, I mean, I think even like Sydney hadn't told her mom all the details of the slut shaming story that she goes through. And in a way, I think some of the kids participated so that their parents would see. There's a story with Jordan where her mom's very strict, and they're often right next to each other on the couch, both on their screens. And Jordan, who seems to be like super shy and super listening to her mom all the time, is actually talking to boys all over the country and arranging illicit meetups. And one of the meetups, she didn't even tell us about it or let us film it, but it was on her social, and we have access to the social. So then I asked her about it, and she said, well, let me see where my mom is. And she looked at her Find My Friends, and she said, "Oh, she's far enough away. I'll tell you the story." And so then when we were in group, she brought it up, and the other kids were like, "Well, is your mom going to watch the show? Like, she doesn't know yet." And she said, "Yeah, she'll see it, but it's going to be in 2 years, so it'll be okay."
Well, it's out now, and you can watch it on Hulu or wherever you watch your FX shows. Thanks very much to the team from Social Studies
Thank
for sharing.
you.
Thank you.